Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So this past weekend, the trailer for the Halo live-action series on Paramount Plus dropped. That is definitely something that happened. If you didn't see it, I will put a link to one of the videos in the description below. You can go there, you can check it out yourself. Let me know what you think, because I feel like the reaction to it, while not exactly negative, has been very... Oh, so that's what they're doing. I don't know. I check it out. Let me know what you think. Take a look at it. But what we have here today, because of the trailer dropping, we have the Spartan Collection, the Wicked Cool Toys Spartan Collection Master Chief Walgreens Exclusive, which I didn't even know was a thing. I found this when I was actually at Walgreens looking for either Quasar or Binary, the two Marvel Legends Walgreens exclusives that I can't find anywhere. And I saw this Master Chief Walgreens exclusive. And truthfully, the only thing I think that makes him exclusive is, so far, this is the only Master Chief, I believe, that has come with the energy sword. The handle of his weapon is painted, and I believe he is a darker green armor and has a little bit of different paint deco. But other than that, he is the same Master Chief that we've had before, which we haven't really taken a look at, so this will actually be the first Master Chief that we look at on this channel. Just as an aside, I also still have on pre-order the Master Chief 2-pack, the GameStop exclusive, that has the Halo Combat Evolved, the first version of Master Chief, and the Halo Infinite, the newest version of Master Chief, in a box set. I'm still excited about that. But here we have our Spartan collection. Very, pardon the pun, Spartan box. I really like the simple boxes like this, like what McFarlane does and what Valaverse does, where there's not a whole lot to distract you. It's just a big window with the figure. Up top, it has the UNSC. On the side, UNSC is etched into the plastic. Over here, we have the UNSC symbol. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. And a photo of Chief. And on the back, we just have a promotional image along with what he comes with: energy sword, disruptor, additional hands, and Xbox 343 Studios blank bottom, which I know all of this is back here. I'm not used to the bottom of a box being blank. But that's enough of that. Let's just get this open. Let's get to what's inside, and we will take a look at Wicked Cool Toys, the Spartan Collection Master Chief Walgreens exclusive. Alright friends, here he is, John 117, the Master Chief, out of the box, and the first thing we will do is we will put the tape measure to him, and we will see how he measures up. So going to the top of the tape measure, he is just under 7.5 inches tall to the top of his helmet. And Master Chief does tend to be a little bit taller, like maybe by 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch taller than the rest of the Spartan series. And I'm fine with that, because even in the game, I think Chief stands head and shoulders above even other Spartans. I think he is the last of his kind, of the first generation Spartans. There's one other one that they retconned, that there was another Spartan of his ilk on the Pillar of Autumn. I can't remember what her name was. I don't think they make a figure of her yet, but that's beside the point. So we got a 7.5 inch Master Chief. Now, we'll get him close up. We'll take a look at the articulation. We'll take a look at the sculpt. And if you have any of the Master Chiefs, I'm going to tell you right now, you pretty much know what we're about to get into. But let's get him closer and let's take a look. Alright, so here we go with Master Chief. Starting at the head, he can look up. He can look down and really bury the chin. He could do a full 360, but his shoulder pads get in the way. No tilt from side to side. Now, his head, like the other Spartans, do pop off. That's a very small ball joint, though. So if you wanted to try and find a head to fit to use as an unhelmeted Master Chief, if you want to do something as heretical as that, go right ahead. But like Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe, things like that, anything from Hasbro doesn't fit on him. And that's really all I had sitting around to take a look. Now, on his arms, these are actually a soft, not soft rubber, but they are rubber, and they're attached right here so that whenever you lift his arms up, they kind of get out of the way, so they come almost to 90. He has a butterfly joint in the shoulder. Shoulders are do a full 360. He should have a bicep swivel. He does, but it looks to be sticking a little. There we go. He has a bicep swivel. Okay. That doesn't... It's a little tricky to get. There we go. He has double jointed elbows with some pretty decent travel to them. Wrist swivel, and they pivot in and out. And I believe all of his hands pivot in and out, even his weapon holding hands. He has nothing going on at the waist except a little bit of side to side. There's nothing forward, there's nothing back, there's not even anything to say for a twist. Nothing in an ab crunch, nothing in a torso twist, which is a shame because with the way that this armor is, you could have totally put an ab crunch in there. But alas, it is not to be. His legs go forward fairly well. His legs go back, not so much. They can actually come out to the side pretty well. He has double jointed knees with okay travel, but look at this gap, this opening whenever you do that. That is obscene. Also, his knee hinges are very rubbery, and this is something common among the Spartan series, that what they do with the knees, you get real bouncy knee joints in there. I almost forgot that he does have some thigh swivel, that it's cut in. I don't know if you can see that, but it's cut in right there. So there's a little bit of a swivel hip point right there. No boot cut, but the ankles go back. The ankles go forward. There is a forward-facing pin for rocker, bonk, and toe articulation. Okay, starting with the sculpt on this, one thing I do have to say is that the Spartan collection, while the sculpt is not always the best that it could be, I do like the look of these figures. I like the harsh lines of the armor. I like how they do this battle damage on the paint of the chest of the figure and on the arms. On the other Spartan figures, this is very silver, like the paint has been chipped away, whereas with this is more like blast effects. It's a blackened armor, like he's been shot or he's been hit with a rocket. And when I was talking about Noble 6, how it didn't have the reflective mirror visor, I really like this. I really like that visor right there. I think they missed an opportunity that if this was going to be an exclusive and they were going to give it a new paint deco anyway, they should have cracked the visor. They should have given it that crack going across the visor. I think that would have been really cool. Now, while I enjoy things like how harsh the sculpt is for like the helmet, and especially the chest piece and down the arms here, little details like the lighting here and the sides of his helmet, like the little details are very soft. Okay, I do like the sculpt of the legs. He has tread on the boots, which I always enjoy, along with the peg holes, but no stand. Now, something else that he has, and I showed you this on Noble 6, is that these thigh pieces come off and they flip around. Oh, let me get it in there. They flip around and they stick back in there. So when we take a look at his accessories, he'll be able to holster the disruptor here on his hip. Now, also, he has this, he has this peg that comes out of his pack, and it can turn around. And there's another peg there. And, get in there. Get it? Do I have that in backwards? The back ones are a little hard to figure, or to get back in there. Now, if he had a rifle, it would get pegged in right there. But this one doesn't come with a rifle. He only has the disruptor and the sword. But that is a common on Master Chief if you get any of the other ones that has like the battle rifle or the assault rifle, so he can sling it on his back. So, I'll find that later. But I do like the look and the sculpt of these figures. And truthfully, that's one of the main things that draws me to this line. Now, on a lot of the figures, there tends to be some looseness to the joints. This one, however, is pretty solid, that he'll hold a pose no matter what I put him in, no matter how goofy. So he has some fairly solid articulation, but I do have to admit that that is not always the standard. As a matter of fact, the first Master Chief I had a very loose arm joint right here that his arm wouldn't stay up. So I had to pop the arm out of the socket, and these do come apart very easily. And I popped the arm out of the socket, and I put some silicone tape around it. So now the arm holds position, but this one, no problem with the articulation right out of the box. Okay, now for accessories, John doesn't come with much. He comes with his disruptor right here. And we've had this disruptor before, and usually it's just all one solid piece of gray plastic. This has some coloring in the barrel right here. You can see the light gray on the dark gray. I like that. And like I pointed out before, the wraps are painted brown, like there's leather wraps around it. So this has some color to it that the other disruptors we've received with other Spartans don't have. We have this peg hole on the side here, because let's bring John back. Like I said, this piece flips around, and then the disruptor fits right on there, and he can holster it right there on his thigh. The other accessory that he comes with is the energy sword, and if you've received any of the other energy swords, I think there's 2 other figures that have energy swords, you know that this is a very gummy piece of rubber. You can see how that bends. Even the handle bends. This won't hold form for long. So truthfully, I feel like the best thing to do with this is to put it in your figure's hand and never take it out, and hope that with those connector pieces in there, that when it's held like this, it will hold its form and it won't start to droop on you. It looks good. It looks great. I love the translucent purple with the blue swirl, giving it like that crackling energy effect. And the silver paint on the handle down here. I love the look of it. It's very true to the energy sword of the Covenant. It's just really flimsy, really rubbery. And I understand you don't want something that would be a clear, translucent piece of plastic. Otherwise, there is a huge possibility of this thing breaking and snapping. But there has to be something in between. This is one of the same issues I have with McFarlane. So if I'm going to get on McFarlane toys for having weapons like this, I got to get on Wicked Cool for it as well. That they could have come up with something better. It looks good. I just worry about the longevity of something like this, though. Right out of the box, Chief comes with a set of these gripping hands that he uses for trigger fingers for holding his pistol, his disruptor. He also has these clenched fists for when he's going to punch Spartan Locke in the face. He has these open hands for whenever he tries to palm a basketball. And he has this rather unique looking hand, which of course is used for holding his energy sword. You can see that break in the fingers right there is for that part on the hilt for his fingers to fit around it. And it does just fit right in there. And Chief has his hands on the sword. Now, this wrist also goes in and out, which is a shame, because one of the things that, I guess he holds it a little bit better than I thought, but like if you look at his arm going straight out, he kind of holds the sword in a down position, but you can make it work. Okay, here's our Walgreens exclusive beside another version of Master Chief, and as you can see, the base color is much darker than the previous versions, and also you can see how, like I said, all this silver is like paint that has been blasted off or is wearing off of his armor, whereas the black battle markings on here are more like scorched armor. And I have to admit, I think the darker green brings out the detail of the sculpt better than the lighter green does. But we also see him next to Cat and Noble 6, and you can see what I mean, that Chief does stand taller than the other Spartans of the Spartan collection. Here he is beside Hasbro, G.I. Joe Classified, Snake Eyes, Roadblock, and the Cobra Infantry Trooper, and he's definitely taller than all of them, even Roadblock, who is one of the taller figures. And the scale of the Spartans do tend to vary from game to game, but I think, honestly, this is about what the scale should be. The Spartans, especially like I said, this generation of Spartan is much taller, much beefier, much bigger than normal human. I mean, even if you take a look at the end of Halo 4, when he's walking through the ranks of the other Spartans and the humans, he is head and shoulders above everybody in that room. Here he is beside McFarlane Toys, Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn, and DC Multiverse Azrael. And here he is beside Lanyard Toys, Xenomorph Drone, and City Hunter Predator, because let's be honest, why wouldn't these two throw down? So as I've said before, if you're a fan of Halo and you want a Spartan army, this is probably the best way to go. However, if you're a toy collector, I really can't recommend these, to be completely honest. I like them because I am a huge fan of Halo. I like them because I have had hours upon hours upon hours of endless entertainment from the games for as long as Halo has been around. I think going on, 10, 20 years now at this point. I've lost track of how long Halo's been around. I just remember hanging out at my friend's house, system linking the original Xbox, and just going insane with the original Halo. I remember staying up all hours of the night, co-oping the campaign, couch co-op, and just running through it in one sitting. So Halo has a very special place in my heart. That's why I love these figures. That's why I buy these figures. If you're not as vehement in your love of Halo as I am, you may not get much out of them, because the joints do leave something to be desired. You saw how gummy the knee joint was. You saw how huge the gap the knee joint was whenever you bend those knees back. The accessories aren't bad, especially on this one. The energy sword, like I said, could stand to be stiffened up a little. I love the aesthetic of these figures, though. I love the sculpt. I love the look of them. I love the mirrored visor. So there are things that I like about them, but they're not the best figures I've ever had. And they're really the only option we have for a sort of 6-inch scaled. These are bigger than 6 inches, but the Spartans are bigger than humans, so they still kind of scale correctly with a 6-inch figure, I feel. But for a figure this size, this is it, and I don't have a problem with that. But just as long as you know what you're getting when you're getting into it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you watch this video, if you watch this look at Master Chief, and you're like, that really doesn't do it for me, well, what you see is what you get, and if you don't like it in the video, you may not like it in real life. That's all I can say. I love them just because I love Halo. And that's what we have for you today. We have something really different coming for you on Saturday morning for Saturday morning cartoons, so be sure to take a look at that. Check out the link below. Check out the Halo live action trailer. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you're feeling about it and whether or not you're looking forward to it. So until then, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.